Although closely related, these people know each other only as distant memories. Brothers and sisters, husbands and wives, they've been separated for 50 years, victims of a war that divided their nation and destroyed their lives.
여기 남아있는 부모 입장에서는 어떻든 그때 자기가 같이 있던 그 자식의 생각, 또 형제의 생각을 하고 그냥 언제 돌아오라 하고 지금까지 이사 안 가고 있는 50년 동안 사는 사람이 있어요.
The most powerfully symbolic result of Korea's Cold War thaw, these extraordinary reunions are the first step towards what many hope will eventually be their country's reunification.
내 얼굴은 모를까 봐서 나는 알겠지만은 그 양반이 연세가 지금 75인데 저쪽에서 50대도 안내원이 데려오면은
A gift to a dying generation, this is only the second time North Korea has allowed any separated families to meet. It promises more later in the year, approval that's seen as proof that Pyongyang is willing to finally open up. But for the cash-strapped North Korea, the real motives are much more than just humanitarian. Although desperate, the world's last Stalinist state is far from finished. We're on a journey to one of the most secretive states on Earth. Beyond an almost impossible official visa, the only way a foreign journalist can enter North Korea these days is by ship, with a group of South Korean tourists. It's a new route that's meant to show the North's friendlier side, but part of the tour's preparation is a reminder that North and South Korea are still technically at war.
어느 분이 사진을 찍으면 버스가 가다가 전체 버스가 다 멈추죠. 그리고 몇 호차 앞에서 몇 번째 줄 오른쪽 왼쪽 찬쪽 안쪽에 있는 사람이 찍었다고 정확하게 집어냅니다. 예를 들어
For Lee
그분만
Bong-ha, the rules and regulations are a troubling reminder of the regime that wrecked his life.
그런 일이 있을 경우에
50 years ago, amid the chaos of the Korean War, his family tried fleeing south.
제가 알기로는
밤에 어머니가 미숫가루 서말하고 쌀서 말하고 주면서 산으로 가거라. 아버지하고 같이 산에 가서 숨어 있다가 한국군이 들어오면 남쪽으로 가고 이것이 양식 떨어지는 날까지 안 들어오게 되면 먹을 것이 없으니까 뭐 솔나무 껍데기라도 벗겨 먹고 솔잎사과라도 따 먹어가면서
He never saw or heard from his mother and only sister ever again, and ever since he's been too poor to even look.
돈을 모아가지고 그래 아버지가 고향이 거기니까 살아생전에 고향에 거기는 고향 땅은 못 가더라도 경강산 구경이라도 한번 가시라고 또 내 생일이 70이니까는 그래 한번 가시라고 그래 얘기를 해서 이렇게 온 거래요.
This is what Bong-ha and the other tourists have come so far to see. For centuries an inspiration for poets and painters, the misty peaks of Kumgang or Diamond Mountain are for all Koreans, north and south, a potent symbol of their shared culture. So it's not surprising that it's here North Korea has allowed the first free market experiment in hard currency tourism. With his mother probably already dead, for 68-year-old Bong-ha, this is the closest he'll ever get to his old home and his only sibling.
그래 이제 종을 연다는 날 이제 포려 들어서 해졌으니까 그날만 되면 맨날 울지. 영감이 못 만나가지고. 그랬다 뿐이지 뭐 한 번 얘기도 못 들어요. 어디가 얘기를 들을 수도 없고.
Yet even here, on the sacred slopes of Diamond Mountain, giant slogans extolling the wisdom of North Korea's founding dictator, Kim Il-sung, loom as indelible reminders of the repression that keep Bong Ha's sister a prisoner. Everywhere it seems, someone is watching, listening to the tourists. Those two with shiny gumboots are North Korean guards. It's forbidden to film them, and when we did, they had us erase some of this tape. Being in North Korea as a tourist is not surprisingly tightly controlled. While moving around, we're not allowed to take pictures out of the windows of these buses, and to make sure, there's been guards just about every kilometre or so. Contact with North Koreans is strictly prohibited, and it's impossible anyway. From their small villages and their fields, they peer at us from behind a barbed wire fence which runs along much of the route, making the entire country look like a prison camp. This is the North Korea we were not meant to look at. Armed soldiers keep watching us and the farmers. The atmosphere is one of menacing paranoia, sinister control. South Korea will even hand back any North Koreans who try to use the tour to defect. And the tour operator, South Korea's biggest conglomerate, Hyundai, is paying Pyongyang $940 million just for the right to be here. Money it denies North Korea could use to buy weapons.
In order to have a good relationship, we should have confidence in each other. Otherwise, we cannot do anything. If we start to doubt about them, we cannot do anything. We cannot be a friend. We cannot be a relative.
Trust is a big part of the new North-South dialogue. Hyundai hopes money spent now will win it North Korean concessions for massive industrial investments later.
We can provide the capital and the techniques, but they can provide the piece of land and the labors. So by uniting these two items, we can make the product at very low cost.
Talk of the North opening up has only been made possible by June's summit between South Korea's elected president, Kim Dae-jung, and North Korea's reclusive dictator, Kim Jong-il. Kim Dae-jung's lifelong motive for these talks: to remove the risk of war on the Korean peninsula. Increasingly isolated by its former communist allies, North Korea has had to agree, but on one condition: that it gets enough support to ensure the survival of its regime. How much of this is about the regime, the one-party dictatorship, wanting to stay in power?
Oh, forever. In my opinion, the Chairman Kim Jong-il came to the conclusion that having economic cooperation with South Korea can satisfy both national security goal as well as a regime security goal.
A key insider to Seoul's strategic planning, Moon Chung-in was at the summit talks as an advisor to South Korea's National Security Council. The US, Japan and South Korea in particular are now basically helping to prop up this one-party dictatorship. Why not let that system collapse?
The North Korea has shown the outstanding regime durability. The North Korean society is more than what we have thought in the past. Power consolidation by Kim Jong-il, the politics of intimidation and penetration, social control. We cannot inject market forces in North Korea in order to topple the Kim Jong-il regime. We learned it wouldn't be possible. But the only way we can induce change in the North is through the incremental measures, gradual opening, gradual reforms, and gradual expansion of civil society.
But gradual reforms don't defuse Pyongyang's missiles. North Korea now admits making hundreds of millions from the sale of this technology to the Middle East, and says it will only stop making them if the United States pays for and launches North Korean satellites.
it is quite natural for them to retain those cards. But to follow the simple logic of deterrence, let us make sure that if Kim Jong-il plays with those cards, that could be the beginning of end of his regime. Meanwhile, we just pursue engagement card.
To engage Kim Jong-il, one of the most astounding changes since the summit has been Seoul's use of gushing praise for North Korea's so-called dear leader. In just days, he went from being an evil despot to a beguiling and worldly man, simply seeking the best for his people.
He seemed pragmatic and he listened to what my president had to say.
Well, why should the world believe that after just a couple of months, that Kim Jong-il has actually changed, has become, if you like, a nice guy?
Well, I didn't talk about his ability as a leader, which is the question mark to many people. But it is one thing that the 20 million people shows all the loyalty to him.
And only those who once lived there know why.
그래서 이제 어떤 지시가 내려졌는가면은 50여 년 동안 북한이 정착해서 50여 년 동안 사상 교육을 했음에도 불구하고 아직까지 범죄를 저지르는 사람들은 더 사상 교육할 필요가 없다. 이제 머리를 쏴서 죽여라. 청사를.
3 years ago, during the height of North Korea's famine, Kim Jong-suk took her 2 children and fled North Korea. So desperate was their flight, she packed rat poison to kill herself and her babies had they been caught.
본인들은 두말할 것 없이 그 정치범 교화소로 들어가요. 정치범 감옥으로 들어가고 나머지 가족들은 정치범 수용소로 다 들어가게 돼 있어요. 그러니까 북한이 전 지역 가장 깊은 산골에 정말 그 날짐승도 들어갔다 나오기 힘든 그런 가장 힘든 산골에는 정치범 수용소가 다 있어요. 거기에 일단 그 본인은 수용소 감옥으로 들어가고 가족들은 수용소 들어가는데 죽을 때까지 나올 수 없는 곳이에요. 그래서 일단 잡혀 들어가게 되면은 부모 형제든 친척들이든 그 생사를 알 수가 없어요. 죽을 때까지 그런 데로 들어가게 되죠.
And does that continue under Kim Jong-il? Are people still being jailed for the same offences?
아, 그렇죠. 그건 추워도 변함이 없죠. 그러니까
The last time North Korea tried expanding its ideology over the entire peninsula, it very nearly won. 3 million civilians and troops, including those from Australia and the US, died as war raged backwards and forwards across Korea. Millions fled south and thousands either went or were forced north before the Cold War curtain descended along the line of truce.
그 12시쯤 되니까 춘천 시내에 포탄이 떨어졌어요. 그 다음엔 못 만난 거예요. 형은 형대로 저거대고 난 나대로 또 가고 노루 또 써요.
For Moon Byung-ho, the way his brother disappeared made the wartime loss even harder.
글쎄, 그러고서 헤어졌었는데 어느 날 전화가 왔어요. 그 지금 군인 간다고. 그 춘천역으로 나오면 만날 수 있다. 그래서 그거 본 거예요. 그 역에서 만난 거예요. 그리고 끝이에요.
To deal with the pain of that separation, Byung-ho made an almost inconceivable decision.
무슨 북에서 형님을 만났었는데 뭐 돌아가셨다고 생각하는 게 좋겠다고 거기다 모셔놓고 그리고 한 20년간 거의 20년 넘었을 거예요. 그 제살 지내주고 있죠. 그러니까 우리는 찾지도 않았고.
Byung-ho is just one of the 1 million Koreans separated by the war, but encouraged by the new dialogue, many have come here to the Red Cross to try and find some trace of their long-lost loved ones.
아니 그러니까 이북에 납치됐으니까 6.25 때 납치됐으니까 혹시 이번에 생사를 앓을 수 있나 하고 그냥 나온 거예요.
Yang Jum-soon was the 24-year-old mother of a newly born baby when her dentist husband disappeared, taken north against his will by a communist work colleague.
그 다락원이라고 있어요. 저기 의정부 가는 대로. 근데 거기 우리 묘가 있었는데 거기에서 일북으로 넘어갔다고 거기 있는 사람한테 그 우리 마름한테 들었거든. 그래 그때 밤중에 애를 업고 거기 간 거야. 둘째 아이가 그때 있었어요. 업고 서울에서 갔는데 그 소리를 들으니까 하여튼 뭐 이만한 게 가슴에 떨어지더라고. 그런 거 모르죠 그때부터.
확인됐어요?
She's just one of the millions still living Koreans separated by that war who've come to register with the Red Cross in the hope of finding some trace of their missing relatives. There's more hope now than ever before, but for many, like Jum-soon, an empty search can be more painful than not even trying.
그렇죠. 지금 그 생각을 하면은 눈물밖에 안 나오는 거지. 지금 생각을 그래서 혹시 생사래도 있을까 지금 그러고 그냥 나온 거예요. 이거를 뭐 이제 나이도 온천 이제 많이 잡수셨잖아. 80 됐으니까 그랬으니까 돌아가셨는지도 모르는데 혹시나 살아계시면 명단이라도 나올까 하고 그냥 오늘.
Despite the détente, Korea remains dangerously divided. Here at the DMZ, North and South Korea still glare at each other with Cold War hostility.
This is the only place in the world that you actually stand face to face, literally, with your enemy on a daily basis, where we watch their operations taking place, they're watching ours.
Right behind the South Koreans, 37,000 US troops remain on a war footing along what is still the world's most heavily armed border.
I believe, honestly, even with the numbers they have, they would be able to do some damage, but they would not be able to get as far as they did before.
So they're not as much of a threat, perhaps, as we think they are?
They are with biological weapons. That's the biggest concern, especially amongst all the American soldiers here.
Across the barbed wire border, signs of the bizarre world North Koreans call reality. One of the world's biggest flags, here just to outdo the South. An entire town built for propaganda and never populated. Empty facades of a failed system where those behind the wire were regarded as the avowed enemy of those who lived in the South. For South Koreans with relatives in the north, life was made difficult. Official jobs and even passports were refused. Talk of reunification seemed with deep suspicion. But the summit has again put faces to the names of those communist enemies. And 100 of the ideologically safe members of North Korea's elite have been allowed south to once again see their relatives. Overjoyed but numb with disbelief, Moon Byung-ho is one of those selected.
50년을 만나는데 20년 이상을 제살 지내줬어요, 내가. 그 제살 지내니까 이 나로서는 그 꿈만 같지 이게. 형님이 찾지 않으면 영영 못 찾나 봐, 이게.
Unsure of who to look for, Byung-ho, his two sisters and their aging aunt check photographs for any signs of the boy they once knew. After years of emptiness, the minutes of waiting seem to take hours.
형님 반갑습니다. 그 말밖에 더 있어요. 살아줘서 고맙습니다. 그리고 그 양반도 70대기니까 그 애기들 자주 뭐 결혼했겠지 뭐. 그러니까 애기들도 잘 있겠는데.
Suddenly emerging from the sea of tears and emotion is the brother who, for Byung-ho, is literally coming back from the dead. But their brother's first words reveal the very different roads they've travelled. A university professor, Moon Byung-chil, has done well in the north. But the reasons for his success aren't important to a family who's just a few hours to fill in a missing lifetime. And mixed with the joy is one final sadness. After discovering her eldest son was in fact still alive in the north, their mother died just 4 weeks from this meeting.
무엇 때문에 이렇게 갈라져서 오신을 말해서 이렇게 피는 무릎을 내야 우리가 만들어야
There's no doubting the powerful humanitarianism of these reunions. But just like the dialogue with the North, this is just the start of a difficult road with unpredictable outcomes.
The other thing is that we do not know their next move. They never show their intentions. They only show their mind at the last moment. So that's the most difficult thing. So we have to engage in all the imaginary scenarios and the plans.
As a painful reminder of how far there is still to go, this is the first and probably the last time these families will meet. They were not allowed to visit their relatives' homes, and after just a few meetings over 3 days, were sent back to North Korea.
그래서 이 이산 가족의 그 아픔이라는 거는 말로 표현할 수가 없는 겁니다. 직접 당하지 않은 사람은. 좀 어떻게 얘기하면은 차라리 몰랐을 때가 그때가 더 나은 것 같아요.
To many, the two Koreas have taken the first irrevocable steps towards reunification. But like the reunion of these brothers, the conditions North Korea tries to impose could still keep them apart.